If you want to show us some love, donate at rubydaytv.com, the home of all my exclusives, and don't forget to leave the show a rating or a review. Thanks to Tantaley for sponsoring today's episode. Tantaley has everything you need for your next self-care moment, with a wide range of high-quality companion dolls to fit any taste. So make sure to check out Tantaley and use code RUBYDAY to get 12% off your purchase. Realism redefined. You deserve the best experience. So lifelike, you'll be amazed at how real they feel. I'm Ruby Day.
And I'm Olivia.
And this is Love Shot.
Yeah. Oh, what do we have today?
Oh my gosh. I have to tell you, I woke up yesterday. And there I had, waiting in my text messages,
Yeah.
a dick pic.
What?
From somebody I have no idea who it came from.
Whoa, that's weird.
I mean, totally unsolicited.
Yeah.
I still can't tell you whose number it is. But I have to say, I was like, well, this is surprising. Ooh,
Random.
It's actually kind of like... It's a nice D.
Yeah.
So it was like, in one breath, I thought, I don't know who the hell you are. Why are you sending me a dick pic?
How did you get my number?
Yeah. I mean, like, so random.
Oh, wow.
And then in the second breath, I was like, oh, that's not bad looking.
Yeah.
So it was kind of one of those, I'm not quite sure how to feel about people sending nudes.
Yeah. Oh, just in general?
Well, I mean... I've
Yeah.
had so many unsolicited, from online dating accounts to online accounts to total random people from YouTube sending me their naughty pictures.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is all great, and thank you so
goodness.
much for
Yeah.
thinking of me and feeling so comfortable that you thought I would enjoy them. And it's not that I don't, but just not necessarily in the way that maybe they intended me to enjoy them.
Yeah.
Because they were unsolicited. Now, sending nudes when I'm dating you, or we have that kind of flirtatious relationship, or friends with benefits, not an issue that you just randomly send me a nude pic.
Yeah. I like that. That's what I enjoy when it's like I'm somebody I'm seeing, you know? If it's a total stranger, no, it's kind of weird. Even if it's nice looking, it's still a little weird because, like, I don't know you, you know? But if it's somebody I'm dating, I don't know, it's kind of, I like it. I'll send nudes myself. I mean, I'll send them back. I'll be like, oh, you sent me something. It's like the other day, this guy I'm seeing, he sent me a dick pic, and it was like, he had sent me a few dick pics, but usually he was always, you know, he was sending me like, they were like mysterious dick pics. It's like, it wasn't like you could see everything. It was just like he'd be teasing me, right? You can see, oh, I see like an edge, right? And it's like, he's just teasing me. And the other day, he sent me a full-on dick pic, and I was like, oh, hell yeah. I was like, I remember Mr. Mushroom. But I was like, yeah, so I
You've
sent
already
him some stuff
named
back.
his D?
Yes.
Does he know this?
Oh,
Does he know?
You know, I think
You've
he
named
knows.
it?
I think he knows. I'll
Wait.
say it to him when I'm with him.
Okay.
I'll say, oh, give me that Mr. Mushroom, you know, or something like that. So he knows I call it Mr. Mushroom sometimes.
Because most of the men I've known, like, they don't like you nicknaming their Ds. At all.
You know,
in
I
any
don't
way,
know.
shape, or form. Now,
Yeah.
I take it as a term of kind of endearment.
Yeah.
So, or at least when I name them, that's what
Yeah.
it is. But I think I've only named one D in my entire life.
Oh, goodness.
And that's it, because it just, like, I couldn't help but every time I looked at it,
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Well,
this is its name.
Yeah, I have to admit, this is probably the first D I've named. You know, I like it so much. But, and it's so cute. And it's just like, oh, goodness. And it needed a name or something.
Okay, first off, I don't know if I tell him that you
Yes.
think his D is cute.
Right, I know. They're like,
A lot of men don't tend to, like, take that very well.
no, I wouldn't say that. I was like, it's so manly. You know? but I have enjoyed, and I think this particular man that I'm seeing, we've enjoyed passing, nudes back and
Yeah.
forth. I like some mornings I'll be like, especially like the day after we've been together. I that's kind of become our little routine that we do. Like we'll send a little something like I'm throbbing about you. The other day I've seen pictures of my boobs and I was like, my boobs are throbbing still. And it's just like, oh goodness. But it's like, I don't know, it's just kind of a flirtatious little fun little game you can kind of do with each other, showing back. Now, I'm pretty private in the sense that I don't show my face or anything necessarily recognizable and stuff when I'm doing that. It's just like, hey, here's a little part, and only he would recognize, if somebody that's intimately close with me. But it's just like it's just kind of like the tease and kind of get you back and forth. It's nothing super crude or anything,
Yeah.
but it's just fun. I know people probably. I mean, there's people who hardly send crude nudes and
Oh
stuff like
yeah.
that. But we just do tasteful stuff, and he's been really really tasteful. And I think that's what surprised me when he sent me the full on dick shot because he's been so not the traditional man, who's like,
Yeah.
here's my dick, and he just throws it at your face. But he's been more like, I'm gonna tease you about it. Like, here's a little deal. He'll pull the sheets down. You can just see a side of it
Yeah.
or the edge of it or something like that. And I don't know, it's kind of fun just to have that little flirtatious back and forth when you're seeing somebody, when there's actually a connection.
And see, I'm more of the girl that it's like, if I'm not going to see him for a duration,
Yeah,
I'm more apt to do that.
yeah.
Otherwise, I'm kind of like, no, just go see the real thing.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Well, I
I
hear you
just
there.
want to go see the real thing. And it's like, if you want to
Yeah.
see those parts of me, why don't I just pop over?
Right.
It's like, I'm here,
Yes,
I'm
yes, yes.
available.
Oh God, yeah.
Let's not deal
Yeah.
with those
Well, I would love that, and I
semantics,
would do that.
and let's just
Yeah,
go.
I would do that, but this particular situation, it's more of like we get to see each other about once a week or whatever right now, because of other commitments and responsibilities, and so that's just what works out. So it's kind of something to do in the in between,
So your short time is within a week time span? I'm
Yeah.
thinking like,
Yep.
if I'm not going to see you for 2 weeks or more,
Yeah.
then I'm more apt to do it.
Oh
And I
gosh.
don't know what that's about.
I don't know what it's about with you either.
But I've known a lot
Oh
of
goodness.
people that are
Yeah.
just women, especially. They're like, oh hell no.
Yeah. Oh, I
Like
bet.
if they
Yeah.
want to send me a pic, a nudie, that's
Yeah.
fine. But it
Yeah.
irritates them when the person asks for
Oh
one in
yes.
return
Yeah. I
or
hate that. I hate when they ask.
randomly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a built-in expectation sort
Mm-hmm.
of thing. I'm not down for that. That's not cool to
Me
me.
neither. Me neither. I don't
It's
like
like
it.
I want to
Yeah.
do it because I genuinely want to do it. I
Yes.
want them to do it because they genuinely want
Yeah.
to do it and not because they're expecting it
Right.
back.
Right.
Or they just send it to me so that I
Yeah.
get pressured into sending it to
Well, that's
them.
something to tell you boys out there
That's
and men. It's the fact of it is I think a lot of us ladies would say this too, but it's like don't ask us for it. Just it has to be natural. And when it's natural, we're more
build
inclined to
it.
do it. Yeah, and I think that's the deal.
Yeah.
This man that I'm seeing, he never asked once. I was actually, it was just something that I decided to kind of tease him with initially with a little something, and then he sent me a little something back, and we just kind of started doing it.
So
And it's no
you
expectation, but I started it. Yeah, I did start
you
it.
started it.
Yes, I did. And I just sent him a little tease shot, and it wasn't even really nude at first, and he just melted over it, and I was like, well, this is fun. And then he sent me a little tease back, and it was like, it started off really, really tame, and now there's some genitals exposure and some breast exposure and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and just different body parts. But yeah, it's still very tasteful, and we're just having a good time with it.
So what if he had started it? Would you have the same effect on you?
well,
Or
Is
do you want to be
I
in control of saying when that's appropriate and when it's
I don't
not?
have to be in control. No, I would have been totally okay if he had sent me something, like this. Especially after I started seeing him, he's such a gentleman. It's ridiculous. So it's like I wouldn't have thought anything other than. But if he would like sent me one and said send me one back, now that'd be a little pressuresome and expectation wise,
Right.
and I would be less inclined to do it. But because he, I want to send it to him. So it's like,
Yeah.
and because he didn't ask and he was so polite all the time, I was like, oh, well, good boys deserve favor. You know, they all say anything. But it was like, I just wanted to tease him a little bit. I did not know he was going to even come back with anything. But he, like I said, he held his cards for a while until the other morning when I got a full-on dick pic. And I was like, I'm going to cherish that.
I actually, a guy that we've never done anything, but we've always had a flirtatious relationship.
Yeah.
I was floored when he literally left his son's birthday party
Yeah.
to go take a dick pic in the bathroom and send it to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And we had never done that before.
Yeah, just random.
It was just total random.
Yeah.
And I was floored by it. And then at the same time, I'm like, oh, I know how much that took. And only later did I find out what he had left to go snap the photo.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that takes some balls. Especially, the whole scenario.
Yeah.
And that was exhilarating for me
Yeah.
because it was just kind of like out of the blue, unexpected.
Yeah.
And then that banter started that way.
Yeah.
And then I think all of a sudden he got self-conscious and he was like, okay, I don't want any more pics.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, it's cool, whatever. I wasn't the one that started it
Yeah,
anyway.
I know. Like he got cold feet after it. But it's it can be a lot of fun. I've done it with partners all throughout the years, different partners here and there. And sometimes you're right. It can, if people get expectant with it, it turns me off. And so I get turned off and then I don't want to do it. I don't want expectation. I want it to be like they don't ask. It's just like, hey, a little surprise, a little gift. I want to surprise you with it. It's kind of like a lady, bringing lingerie to a date or something like that. It's like, you want to surprise your man. Don't want him expecting, hey, like, I expect you to wear lingerie. Let me surprise you and wear lingerie. And then you'd be surprised. That's a whole type of thing. But,
So how soon is too soon to send a nude?
Oh, wow, that's a great question.
mean,
gosh.
I don't know. I think for me, it depends on the type of relationship I'm having with that person.
Yeah. I think for me, I would say what I like best is it's after I've had sex with them. If I haven't had sex with you yet, I'm sometimes a little like, we just haven't crossed that intimate, boundary yet.
Yeah, but some people, that is the beginning of
Oh, I know.
initiating that.
I get that. And I've done it before myself. I've had people do it with me. What I have found, though, from doing that is the excitement. It's like you get this initial excitement from seeing somebody you haven't actually seen in real life. You get that, but it can also be a, I just had the cake and ate it and kind of situation, but I haven't eaten it. But it's like I saw it, and he doesn't leave that to the imagination or whatever. I do like my first experience with somebody to be a surprise. I want to unwrap.
I was going to say, you want to unwrap the gift.
It's like a present. It's
and
like
see what's underneath all the wrapping.
Well, if Santa sent you a picture of the gift you're going to get on Christmas Day, would it be as exciting? That's my point. It just wouldn't be. So you want that moment of opening the present. And I've had both, and over the years I've learned what I like is I want to unwrap it in real life. I want to see it in real life. I want to unwrap it. If it goes well,
I want to see it, touch it, smell it, feel it.
Yeah, have it everywhere.
I want all the senses.
Yeah, me too. And if it goes well and there's chemistry and you guys really hit it off and have a great experience, that's what makes sending nudes for me so much better because it brings it to a whole nother level of excitement. It's like, it reminds me of, Mr. Mushroom that I had. And it's like, hey, it's like, ooh, there it is. Or it's you're having that banter. And even if it's not, totally like, showing genitals and stuff like that. I had him sending me a picture the other day. Just it was just shirtless. Just shirtless deal, and it was like, God, that's just fucking hot, and I loved it. Yes, because it just reminds me of the territory I've already started exploring.
I do love the nudes where the guy's fully dressed and he may be standing or sitting and you see
Yeah.
just the head poking up from his waistband. I don't know what it is about that.
Yeah.
But it is such a tempting, teasing, kind of exhilarating, like, ooh, I want to see the rest of it. I want to see the rest of it.
Yeah. I've kind of had those situations happen sometimes with guys wearing like a suit or dress pants, and then they pull it out through their zipper and it's just hanging like that.
One of the best, and it wasn't a true nude, but one of the best I've been sent was this guy had these really sleek European straight cut slacks on.
That sounds sexy.
So they were taunt, but they weren't, they still had a nice hang to them.
Yeah.
And all you could see was his D. Rock hard, almost a foot long.
Oh my God.
Bulging from his slacks.
Wow.
Nothing else. And he was fully dressed. And I was like, fuck me.
Yes. Like you can see it through the clothing.
Oh my God. That is.
Those are hot.
Honestly, that's some of the hottest pics you could send me because it's the temptation. And I'm like a cat. I'm like, ooh, I want to touch it. I want to feel it. I don't need to see it. I just need to touch it and feel it. Because that is bulging so much. It's calling my name and I can't help but constantly stare at it. My gaze is just fixated on it.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if that's odd or not, but
I think that's hot
love
too.
those types of pics.
Yeah.
Being super sexy. And it's not flamboyantly in your face. And don't get me wrong, I like those too.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a month after we've been seeing each other or within that time frame, not like right off the bat.
Right.
Otherwise, I kind of denote you as A, either inappropriate, B, you're a swinger and don't understand protocol and etiquette in society.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying all swingers are that way. I'm just saying it has a tendency to evoke that thought process for me. Or this person's just DTF.
Yeah.
And that's totally cool if that's what you want to do with them.
Yeah.
But if you have any interest of actually getting to know them, it like blows the whole mood for me.
Yeah.
And that way, within that first month, it's not totally unsolicited.
Right.
But having your first introduction be like your handshake is sending a nude.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with that. Run.
Oh, yeah. I think.
Run. And I don't care if you're male, female. It doesn't matter to me.
You don't want to send it too soon,
Just don't do it unsolicited because that's an immediate block red flag for me.
Even if it's nice, you're like, that's nice, but whoa,
I'm like,
honey.
I may keep the photo, but no. We are so not going there. And I like for the person to kind of get me, well, I say this, I like to get hooked a bit on it before those nudes start coming.
Oh, yeah, I think that's kind of what...
I want to know what the experience is like before the nudes start. Then I'm hooked on it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, send me some more. Come on.
I typically, I think my MO is, before I ever send the nude, it's going to like, we've at least had sex a couple different times, Okay. And so that's where I'm at. If I've had sex and it's good sex, then I will, and that's kind of what I'll do.
What if it's mediocre sex and they still send you nudes? Ooh, I mean, it's like no fault.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no harm in it.
No, yeah.
But it's just kind of like, yeah. It always reminds me of
you like,
the mediocre sex, and I never have the heart to really fully say anything about it. So then I feel like I have to act, and I feel like I have to like. Okay, I've got to say something nice back when I'm just pseudo, it's okay. It's not bad, but it's not like I'm faunting after it either.
Right, yeah. I think that can happen. I've been there before. I think everybody has probably been there before with things like that, but it's like, Oh, I mean, it happens when you're doing
Yeah.
that, but it's like it's become so common these days that people send
Yeah.
nudes ever since the development of these. We all have the
Cameras
iPhone or
on your
cameras on your
phone.
phones and everything like that. Everybody's doing it, and it's just become so normalized
Part of the
too.
norm of
Yeah,
dating. And that's where
yeah,
sometimes I feel like a bit of an oddball because I'm not that kind of girl.
yeah,
It's like, come see me
yeah,
or make
yeah.
plans to see me. I'll show you everything.
Right? Yeah,
I'll show
and you
you
can touch too.
everything. And you can touch, you can smell, you
Yeah.
can feel, you can,
Right. Yeah. Oh,
let's get
yeah.
those other sensories going.
That's one thing I have wondered at times with sending nudes. Like if he's like, as a
How
lady,
much
I'm
do
like,
you
how much do you
send?
send, right? And I'm always worried. Like, I hope I didn't send too much. I hope I didn't send too much. Like, I want them to be craving me, right?
Right.
But I don't want to send them too much that they're like, oh, they're taking care of themselves with it and stuff like that. So it's like it's a fine line, and I don't know where that line is with
But so
everybody.
many
But
people
yeah,
can take care of themselves on such minor
yeah,
imagery
yeah.
that you never really truly know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I start getting self conscious. I send something and I'm like, okay, now my brain's working. And I'm like, do you think they're going to like it? What if I don't hear back from them? And it just builds this entire amount of anxiety that
It
I
does,
don't
yeah.
even want in the relationship dynamic.
Yeah,
And
right.
I think that may be part of the reason why I'm not like trigger happy on
Well,
doing it
yeah,
because I don't want them to be in that
yeah,
position
yeah,
with me. And
right,
I don't want to feel like I'm expected to respond in a certain way
right, yeah.
or, give them a
Oh,
nude
yeah.
back. And then I'm in that position and I don't
Oh,
want to be
yeah.
in that position.
Yeah.
And I
It's
just
real.
sometimes,
It's
and it's
real.
weird to have that
Yeah,
conversation of, hey, how do you feel about sending nudes?
yeah,
I mean,
right.
it's like, does
Yeah,
that
you just
mood
almost have,
kill
yeah,
or
maybe a bit. It can be tricky, and you can sometimes run into little, pitfalls.
nuances?
You can. It's like sometimes, I've sent a guy a pic a time, time or two. It's like we had been doing it for a little while, and I send him one, and I get I think you don't have an expectation, but there is an expectation when you send somebody a nude that you expect, and probably this is girls and guys, everybody, just wants to know, like, hey, do you find that hot, or wow, or some type of reaction. But I've had reactions where it's like you send something like that thinking you're going to get a reaction, and they're just like, I had a really nice time. You don't get the reaction that you're hoping to get. You still get a nice response,
Right.
like, I really enjoyed the time with you, or something like that. It's like that can happen, but it's like sometimes it can mess with your head
I
because you're like, well,
know.
did they not like the
You
picture?
you
Or,
start second guessing and you're
right.
like, did I take a bad photo?
Yeah.
Are they really just not into me?
Yeah.
Are they and I just don't want it like that happens
Yeah.
enough just dating.
Right.
Like I don't need that
Yeah.
feeling on
Yeah.
steroids.
Or they're,
It's like the
yeah.
guy who sent me the nude,
Mm-hmm.
the dick pic.
Yeah.
And then he just all of a sudden out of the blue was like, no more. And I'm like, did I send something that was wrong? Or is
Yeah.
there something else that he's
It,
not communicating? Like
yeah.
his girlfriend or his other partners found it and they're
Yeah.
questioning. It just
Well,
opens up so many more
it
insecurities.
does, and it can get awkward. I mean, sending nudes can get awkward. It can be a lot of fun, and it can be awkward too. And I think
Yeah.
that is a little bit of the risk that you're taking with it, or whatever, because you open yourself up a little bit. But that's where I'm just like, if you're gonna do it, you got to realize every time you send a pic, it's not gonna get like a oh wow. But it's nice when it does because it can feel that way. But you have to also realize, I've realized too. Sometimes, you may have just sent it at the wrong time. It's bad timing. They're in the middle of something else. And they don't
Right.
have time to it. And then would they come back to it later? It might seem a little weird if they're like, hours later, a day later, they're like, hey, that picture was so hot. It'd
I
still be
don't know. I
nice, but yeah.
appreciate it when they do.
Well, I would too.
Because I've had
But
that
yeah.
scenario happen too.
Yeah, I've
They
had
were
all
like,
kinds.
I've
Yeah.
been looking back at the photo you sent me, for however many days it
That would be really
lasts.
sweet. Yeah.
And it was like, it's really hot.
Yeah.
Or I've really been enjoying it.
Yeah.
Or it's made, it makes me want to see you this weekend. Are you free?
Yeah.
That type of
Yeah.
thing. But I'm also always concerned because once you send those types of photos out,
Right.
who knows where they're going to end up.
Right. Yeah.
And the people I've always had that type of interchange with me, they always want my face in it.
Oh, no.
And
No.
I'm kind of like, some of them that I've known for a while, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But on the other
I
hand,
just
like
don't
I
do
said,
that. Yeah.
I mean, where's this going to end up?
Right.
On some
You don't know.
revenge site?
You have no idea.
Or,
Yeah.
and then it impacts when everybody's doing it,
Yeah.
including your employer.
Yeah.
They're all doing it because it's become
Right.
such a norm.
Oh, I know it has. Yeah.
But yet you get ridiculed for the
Yeah.
fact that
Oh,
you
yeah.
had a bad apple who
Oh, you will.
misbehaved.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not my fault they
Yeah.
behaved badly.
Well, my thought on the whole thing is, as a woman, if you show your face and that does get out and get leaked, you also get slut shamed, and it's horrible. Because
I don't
but
get
I
that,
don't do that. Yeah.
because men do it 10 times more than we do.
Oh, I know.
And it's all this build them up, you're a stud kind of situation.
Well, that's a whole nother topic.
But then
isn't it?
women do it, and like you said,
Yeah.
it can potentially turn into slut shaming.
Yeah. Well, that's like I said. I don't. It doesn't matter whether I'm dating you or not dating you. No, I'm not sending my face. I'm not sending my face in it. I'll send you body part pics, but I'm not. That's where I draw the line. No
I even
face.
had a guy ask me to send him a nude when he's sitting in the middle of a 3-hour board meeting. And his entire board is sitting around him as we're flip-flopping nudes back and forth. And I had to ask him, I was like, you are where? He goes, oh, yeah, I'm in the middle of a board meeting and there's a conference call on top of it. And it's, going out all across different countries in the world.
Yeah.
And I said, and you're sending me nudes and I'm sending you nudes? He goes, yeah, my lawyer's sitting right next to me just cracking his shit up that we're doing this. And I'm like, okay, now wait a minute. So it's not just your eyes seeing it now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
that's
you know
kinda
what?
Weird. Yeah, that's weird.
Let me know when you're out of your board meeting and then we'll pick it back up. But I'm not doing this.
That's so not cool.
Because
Not
I'm
cool.
not going to be spank bank for your entire boardroom.
That's so not cool.
That wasn't my deal.
Yeah, and I know it could. You never know if it's happening, and they should.
And they just don't tell you when
right.
it's going on.
But
I
the
mean,
fact
at
that
least
he even
told me.
Yeah, but
so I
still,
knew.
that would piss
but
me off.
I
Literally
was just like-
disrespectful as hell. I would not tolerate a man doing that. That'd be the last nude he ever got from me. Actually, that'd be the last interaction he'd ever have from me. To be honest, that's how serious I am about that stuff. That's not fucking cool. Yeah, I've got standards. And I want my men to be respectful of what I'm sharing with them and my body and our time. And it's not for your friends.
I want that respected, but I don't know if that's necessarily a standard versus, for me, it's more of a boundary situation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Of just etiquette, if nothing else.
Yeah. I mean,
Couth.
it'd be different if he asked, like, hey, can I show this to a friend of mine? Well, then at least it's a conversation and there's consent, right?
Yeah, but they
it's
can
like,
do that
you're
without
right.
your
They
consent
could.
anyway.
Right. But the fact that he was arrogant enough to fucking say it tells so much about that man. That's a man I would never have nothing to do with again.
But realize it may not be arrogance. He could just be like... Because I asked him where he was at because I knew he was at work.
Right.
And I just asked
being
him
honest.
he was just being forthcoming and honest.
Oh, that's so
And I was like,
inappropriate.
okay, there's one part of me that's kind of hot that you're doing this in the middle of a board meeting. But the other part of me is like, I'm not necessarily comfortable with your lawyer and your other board members seeing this.
That would creep me out. I just couldn't do that, and I would never be able to look at him the same way again.
And I'm sure that,
like,
I mean,
oh my goodness.
Come on, there's
Yeah, that would be a
I mean,
very hard
it can
one.
always get out.
Yeah.
So when I send a nude, I'm always sending it with the expectation I'm going to see it circle back around at some point.
Hence why you don't put your face in it. Or anything that's recognizable is what I say.
Yeah, but when you have tattoos, it's all recognizable,
no
so
doubt,
it doesn't matter.
Well, try not to show your tattoos. That's one way.
Well, that may be really impossible.
I guess it depends on how many tattoos you have and where they're at.
And where you've got them. So mental note, maybe put a hand over it or...
Well, I don't have any. I only got a few in my arm, and it's like that never gets in there. But I don't have any tattoos to show anything like that, so I'm safe in that region. But it's just...
I did not plan my tattoos for
sending nudes
ever existing.
Right.
Not like that.
I bet a lot of ladies didn't plan on that.
It's like,
I got this tattoo, and then oh, right.
And then all of a sudden, sending nudes became a thing.
Oh,
and
I know,
I had no idea.
Especially all the tattoos that people have. Like, down in their pelvic regions or around their chest and stuff like that, or on their ass or their sides of their ass and stuff like that. Yeah,
or their thighs.
Their thighs.
Or,
I know there's so many places that would make it like, oh, I know who that is.
Yeah, it's recognizable.
Yeah, like, oh, there's...
And maybe that's also, I never thought about it, but maybe that's also part of the factor as to why I'm timid to actually send nudes.
Right.
And I know that sounds weird. Yeah. And I hate people. I don't hate people. I dislike when somebody is nothing but a tease and never actually does that in person, or they become so conservative and so staunch in person. But they'll send me nudes all the time.
I know, right,
and I'm like, and you call me a tease?
Yeah.
No, you're a tease because I at least eventually put out, but you're not doing crap.
I don't mess with men like that. I've had men do that with me, and if they act that way up on the first meeting and stuff like that, we're like I said, this is why I have a rule. I don't send nudes unless we've slept together. And it's usually twice. It has to be two different times of sleeping together.
So you've got this whole nudes protocol.
Oh yeah, I've got a whole nudes
Okay,
protocol.
I want to know from you listeners how many of you have a nudes protocol and what it is, because I am totally fascinated.
Yeah, let us know.
This.
Write a comment and let us know. We would love to hear.
If you want to show us some love, donate at rubydaytv.com. The home of all my exclusives. And don't forget to leave the show a rating or a review.